Greetings, Moors, and happy holy day on this day of Mars. And bear with me one moment while I get myself together here. And for those who don't know me, I'm Antitutal of More Than North Gate. This video is being recorded, and I will save it for you to play back at your leisure. And I'm no longer on Facebook, meaning that I don't post videos on Facebook anymore. I used to post all my videos on there. There were some issues, so I'm now utilizing the YouTube platform. Not like it's any better, but you know, I'll try and see how this works. If this doesn't work, I'll go to another platform. So if you're on my friends list on Facebook, you'll need to come onto YouTube and sign on there to view my videos as I used to share with you on Facebook. All right, so peace and love to everyone. And again, if you never met me before, if you never listened to my videos, I'm Antitutal of More Than North Gate. A lot of information to share with you. As always, before I begin, I will reach out into the cosmic mind. It is everywhere. It is all around us. This is what we're made of. And this consciousness is what keeps us going, that keeps us alive. All right? And because of how the law works, the law of polarity, the law of vibration, the law of correspondence, the law of mentalism, you want to always be cognizant that you must be on the right side of the fence. There were those who chose to be on the opposite side of the fence, and they are paying dearly with their very life. Their life outside of this consciousness, they're still paying for that. And it's time now for us to break the cycle of ignorance. We must do what is right for ourselves and for others and for this planet and for the cosmos itself. You are what you think. Mind is everything in law. And natural law, divine law, your mind, what comes out of the mind affects everything. All right? So we're going to touch on a few things, and I want to go to the east and welcome in the great Enki. I want to go to the west and welcome in our Pharaoh Canaanite. I want to go to the north and welcome in our noble Ali. I want to go to the south and welcome in our noble Charles Mosley Bay. I want to also welcome in Mother Tiamat, Mother Ninti from creation, Ruth the Moabite mother, my grandmothers on both my mother's and father's side, Ham and Cush for all that they've done, all the knowledge, the serpents for all they've done, the dragons for all they've done, the jinn for all they've done. And we must be cognizant of our ancient past. We have to be always aware and never forget that what flows through us in our DNA, our melanin, these are all memory codes. They know this. When I say they, the ones that oppress you, the ones that subjugate you, the ones that plagiarize your knowledge, the ones that are stealing from your estates, they know these things. That's why they live in fear. It is in their DNA. They fear the truth. They fear the law. Because once the law and truth are implemented, they can no longer exist. In the presence of law and truth, fraud cannot exist. It has no power. And they know this, which is why it's important that you stay nice and dumb. You stay pumped up with belief in your opinions and your feelings and your emotions. It's critical that you never know the truth. As long as you don't know the truth, this world as we see it will exist. It will continue. Even with the reset coming up, that's just another form of fraud. They're not doing a reset to make things better. They're doing reset so they won't crumble under the current system that they created. Interesting, isn't it? And those that steal from you and steal your knowledge, they know, had it not been for the Aboriginal Moors, those copper-toned people of the planet, had it not been for them, they would not be here, number one. Number two, they would cease to even exist, because without amalgamating and mixing with the Moors, they still would not exist, because they were dying at an alarming rate, and still are today. That's why cancer and viruses and everything are such a threat to them. That's why they must wear masks. They must wear body condoms. They must do the hand sanitizers and all that, which causes cancer. They must do all these things because fear is in the DNA. Their fear of death is imprinted in their DNA code. So they're only acting on what they know to be true. What they think is the truth. So the powers that be tell them to do this, 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 and they will follow without questioning. They will automatically believe what those with a piece of paper and a so-called degree tell them, because they fail to know themselves and they fail to know the truth. So this is what we have today. But there's some information I want to share with you, and it's imperative that we do what is right. And Moors, keep nationality simple, please. Don't get yourself caught up in nonsense. It's so funny. I was digging through some old paperwork and just going through some knowledge, and I came across this, and it kind of hit me where I said, you know, when I first nationalized, I took nationality very seriously. I always did. And every day that I learned more and I gained more knowledge, this image right here becomes solidified, not just here on this planet, but throughout the cosmos. There's a mark that you earn when you gain this esoteric knowledge. Your name is spoken throughout the cosmos. It's being recorded in the Akashic records. Your name is being uttered through the cosmic mind when you stand on nobility and do what is right. You stand on the law, divine law, nature's law, jurisprudence, Maxim's law, common sense. When you stand in all law, you are a part of the cosmic mind that speaks law and truth into existence. And when you agree to start this journey of nationality, it is nothing to play with, nothing to toy with. You must take this very seriously and do not waver from it. Whether you have children, whether you're married or dating or whatever your situation may be, you want to take this knowledge very seriously. And you must study daily. You must make it a habit to gain knowledge, to seek knowledge. Now, it's very warm today, and I tell you folks, we got so much going on, as you know, but much more than what you're thinking. Not just the obvious. I'm going to read to you from the Anunnaki Bible. This is what I call the knowledge of Enki. I'm going to read to you from page 61, The Secrets of Seth, the son of Adapa. The wisest among men and gods have spoken the words. In the beginning was the primordial chaos, and nothing but it existed. But in truth, the beginning was a formless void. In the center was the divine spark, the permeating spirit. You are a pure one from a pure power. You are the first among men. because you are the true king on earth. Know that I was carried on the summits of creation and made privy to the secrets of the light, darkness, and the habitable worlds in the between. In the beginning, amidst the formless void, there was light, darkness, and a divine spark between. In love and peace, the light was united with the Word to be one. The darkness was the wind, and the mind was the formless fire. In the between was the divine spark, the true light, which existed in tranquility, quietness. Light, dark, divine spark, spirit. These are the three roots from the beginnings. Each of them existed alone, separated in their own power, and in the beginnings unknown to each other. The power bestowed upon light was great. Light revealed the nature of darkness in newest depths. Light discovered the root of darkness was not pure, divine. In ignorance and isolation, darkness assumed the ego mind. Darkness believed none could be above it, and it consumed itself. And darkness reigned in depths covered by primordial waters. The vileness and corruption beheld by darkness was not known. But then darkness quaked, and all could hear the sound. The divine spark heard the sound of the minds of darkness. For the first time did this sound vibrate throughout the universe. When darkness beheld the form of the divine spark, spirit, it could not comprehend, because the mind was full of pride. By the will of light, the darkness was separated from the waters. Darkness saw its appearance compared to the divine spark, and was overcome with grief. Pay attention. I want to read that again. On page 62. Darkness saw its appearance compared to the divine spark. I'm going to read that again. Page 62. Darkness saw its appearance compared to the divine spark, and was overcome with grief. Darkness sought to assimilate the divine spark spirit. Then it sought to make the divine spark spirit equal to it. Both attempts failed. Enraged, the mind of darkness was. It became the eye of bitterness in the depths. Then it showed its fiery rage at the heights of the depths. In doing so, revealed the nature of purity of the true light, and so failed to ascend, come forth. Before Adapa returned to earth, the assembly of the Anunnaki stirred, because Anu was not the sole creator in the universe. Are you paying attention? Monotheists? Pay attention. Before Adapa returned to earth, the assembly of the Anunnaki stirred, because Anu was not the sole creator in the universe. Chaos stirred, for the mind of darkness was known to be a liar. When it spoke, I am God, and there is no other. When after Adapa had returned to earth, the assembly of the Anunnaki met with Anu, the chief creator. The assembly asked, isn't this creation, man, who is made in the image of a God, going to be the ruin of us in our plans? Listen. The Anunnaki and Ajiji murmured among themselves, the God had been made from earth and heaven. It had determined that another was to be made in its likeness. They determined in heaven, let us also fashion females by which the man will fall in love with. And the lesser gods delighted in this decision. Pay attention. For they feared the rise to power of this new God. We are the powers in this age. We are the rulers in this age. Let the children of light serve us. Let the children of light be slaves for this entire age. Those are the words out of the Anunnaki Bible, the Black Book of the Yazidi. Now, I'm going to read to you bear with me one moment. Out of the Yazidi Black Book, the story of creation. The Black Book story of creation is similar in that it involved the first male and female named Adam and Eve in the English translation. Pay attention. Who bear children. However, it differs significantly from other Abrahamic religions. Pay attention. And that Adam has children of his own accord first. And a squabble with Eve over who is responsible for begetting the human race. They both emit their seed into jars. After a certain amount of time, they open the jars and find that Adam's jar has a male and female child in it, whereas Eve's jar only has worms. This is the only known Adam and Eve story that has the male Adam birthing offspring autonomously. Look up the word autonomous, what that means. I'm going to read that one more time, because many will not get it. The Black Book story of creation is similar in that it involves the first male and female, named Adam and Eve in the English translation, who bear children. However, it differs significantly from other Abrahamic religions in that Adam has children of his own accord first, in a squabble with Eve over who is responsible for begetting the human race. This is the only known Adam and Eve story that has the male Adam birthing offspring autonomously. That means by himself, without any assistance. Now I'm going to go back to the Black Book. Page 62. And the assembly asked, isn't this creation man who was made in the image of a God going to be the ruin of us and our plans? The Anunnaki and Agigi murmured among themselves. The God had been made from earth in heaven. It had determined that another was to be made in this likeness. They determined in heaven, let us also fashion females by which the man will fall in love with. And the lesser gods delighted in this decision. For they feared, pay attention. For they feared the rise to power of this new God. We are the powers of this age. We are the rulers in this age. Let the children of light serve us. Let the children of light be slaves for this entire age. Who are they talking about? What were they saying? And why is it crucial that you know what Noble Drew Ali gave you regarding your nationality and what Charles Mosby Bay gave you when he gave you the clocks of destiny in the Zodiac Constitution? And why it was so important that you never know thyself. The moment you wake up, the moment you piece the puzzle together, you will figure out that was talking about you. Because those ancient ancestors, the Adapa, the Adam, all those that they're discussing, bring you back to the esoteric knowledge that was taught in the ancient mystery schools in Kemet, Atlantis, and Lemuria, and prior to that. It ties you back to Enki. It ties you to the house of Pharaoh. Huh? It's imperative you stay nice and stupid. It's imperative that you believe in the gods and continue praying. And you never figure out why you are just spinning your wheels and not going nowhere. If you have the mark of Enki, if you have the mark of Pharaoh Akhenaten, if you have the mark of Noble Drew Ali, if you have the mark of Charles Mosby Bay, if you have the mark of Mother Tiamat, if you have the mark of Ham and Cush, if you have the mark of the serpent, if you have the mark of the dragons. If you have the mark by the jinn, study and you'll be all right. Study and you will be all right, because you must know, you must do the work. It will come to you. It's in the ancestral DNA. It will come to you. Stand still, be patient. Go within nature. Come out, if you're in them cities, find a tree. Stand next to that tree. Get in the sun. On days where the sun is shining, is clear, there's nothing to obstruct it. Feel those rays. That's for you, Aboriginal people. The sun is your friend, not your enemy. Now, there's more. From the Congressional Globe, the official proceedings of Congress, published by John C. Rise, Washington, D.C., Saturday, April 9th, 1864, the 38th Congress, first session. The original 13th Amendment, all 20 sections. The one they got rid of. You read the 13th Amendment today, it only has 2 sections in it. Why? Why is that? Why would the 13th Amendment today only have 2 sections in it when it started out with 20? Ask yourself that question. Article 12 of the 13th Amendment, the original 13th Amendment, Article 12. The traffic in slaves with Africa is hereby forever prohibited on pain of death, and the forfeiture of all the rights and property of persons engaged therein, and the descendants of Africans shall not be citizens. And the descendants of Africans shall not be citizens. But many out there marching calling that Black Lives Matter, ain't they? And they're demanding rights from people who took that away from them. U.S. citizens don't have rights. You have privileges. And privileges can be given and taken away at will. An unalienable right is given to someone who knows thyself. Georgia House Resolution 1203, line 8, where the Moorish Americans are teaching their people their true nationality and divine creed, that they may become better citizens and know they are not Negroes, colored folk, black people, nor Afros, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders. So when somebody wants to be black, whereas the Moorish Americans are teaching their people their true nationality and divine creed, that they become better citizens and know they are not Negroes, colored folk, black people, nor Afros, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders. In this era of time, as all nations are seeking peace, the indigenous Moor people of the Americas are now united to link themselves with the family of nations. And whereas the Moorish Americans, being aboriginal to the territories of North, Central, South Americas, have formed a sovereign theocratic government. And guided by the command principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, through virtue of the universal right to self-determination, as well as with the Declaration of Rights of Indigenous Peoples guaranteed in the Charter of the United Nations. Let us go to that United Nations Declaration of Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Let's check that out. Article 3, Indigenous Peoples. Now this is the United Nations Declaration of Rights of Indigenous Peoples. You can look it up. Article 3, Indigenous people have the right to self-determination. I just read that. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. Article 4, Indigenous peoples, in exercising their right to self-determination, have the right to autonomy. Or self-government. in matters relating to their internal local affairs, as well as ways and means for financing their autonomous functions. Indigenous peoples have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinct political, legal, economic, social, and cultural institutions, while retaining their right to participate fully, if they so choose, in the political, economic, social, and cultural life of the state. Article 6. Every indigenous individual has a right to a nationality. So, for all the naysayers out there that want to call you sovereign citizens, even some Moors in the Moorish Science Temple are doing this, calling Moorish nation more sovereign citizens. They're involved with that. And here's the thing. Do y'all remember Sister Sharon from the Moorish American Consulate back east in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in that territory? Has anyone asked how she's doing? Has anyone checked on her? I'm just curious. Because for all the hype and all them bad, big and bad Moors out there, how many of y'all took the time to read chapter 25 of the Circle 7? How many of you have taken the time to read chapter 25, particularly if you're a grand sheik and a sheik? Whether you're in a temple or not, it's irrelevant. How many of you have gotten together with your knowledge, with your ancient knowledge, and got that sister out of that nonsense? So what you fail to do as a nation, those that do know law, those that do know the law, got to step in. And here's how this works, because I'm looking at this from a whole nother angle. That sister, unless she's done something wrong against the law, if she's violated the supreme law now, not statutes and codes, that ain't gonna fly, or some personal issue a person may have with that sister, that's irrelevant. You got to stick with the facts. What has she done in law where it requires that she be detained? What has she done? If she has not done anything against the law, then why is she being held? Every day, that sister's being held unjustly and under falsehood. Those involved with that, whether you are Moor, because rumor has it that Moorish Science Temple was involved with her arrest. Moorish Science Temple was involved with her arrest. That's always been floating out there. If that's true, chapter 25, your own Circle 7. If that's true, you are worthless, beyond worthless, when your own turn on you to get paid off. Those of the U.S. corporation that's holding that sister unjustly, and there's no evidence to show that she's broken any law, any supreme law, any violation of the treaty and the Constitution. If they are doing that to this woman and this Moor, bad on them. Bad on them. Because here's what's going to happen. Without the firing of one weapon, here's what's going to happen. The judges involved with that will pay. Those who you call law enforcement, who are involved with her arrest, will pay. Those who are detaining her and know the truth and still acquiesce and be silent, and they're detaining her, Saturn will step in. And for those of you who are Masonic, you know how Saturn works. That ain't no joke. It will enforce the law. Moors in the territories of Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Go check on that sister. Go check on her. Let her speak. Any harm or injury done to her, you act like you know what time it is and you deal with that in law. That is not acceptable to the nation. It's not acceptable to Noble Drew Ali and Charles Mosley Bay and the information that they gave us into the law. Because by treaty, they have no right to detain her. She's protected by that treaty. She's a Moor, is she not? And Moors support your Moorish American consulate. At first, there were some growing pains, but they got it together. And I applaud them for doing what is right and standing in the law. And you must give them your full support. Those who speak the truth and speak the law, you support that. Put your feelings aside and grow up and study, please. Praying has gotten us nowhere. You must stand in science and in the truth and what you know to be the truth. We've done the praying. The praying that just got us nowhere. Know thyself. This COVID that they created is for them. This nonsense they done created is for them. That's why they're so afraid. It backfired. It was meant for you. And as always, it never works. That's why they never have peace. Everywhere they go, they live in fear. So they will be afraid every day of their life. I pity their children, the fraudsters, those that are holding that sister in Pennsylvania. I pity the children, which I really shouldn't. But the thing is, because I do honestly care about the planet and what's on it. Because the children didn't have anything to do with that. But because of the law and how nature works, you are a product of your parents. So those innocent children that these murderers and thieves and liars keep creating, they don't know they have already judged their own kind, their own children. They've cursed their own children by their behavior. And they'll never understand that. They'll never get that. So they continue creating more karmic debt through their actions and their disobedience of the law and mocking the law when they know the truth. Bad on them. And bad on you if you acquiesce. Because you're supposed to speak up and do what is right. Y'all check on that sister in Pennsylvania if she's still incarcerated. If she's still locked up, you all need to be checking on her. Chapter 25 of Circle 7. Read it. You all got to get this thing right. Moors, we have so much work to do. And take your time and study. The world is changing. You do not sit and wait for somebody to give you something, and you don't stand there and you just kind of like, well, what am I supposed to do? That knowledge from our ancestors flows through you every day. You got to turn off that television and that radio and listen to all that hip hop and go back to your ancient knowledge and pick up a book. That's what you got to do. Stop out there trying to be all big and bad. Humble yourself, stand in nobility, and be thyself. Do that. If you love your children, do what is right. Be an example for them. Always stand in nobility. That what flows through your blood. Don't just say I'm got melanin and this and this and this and being Aboriginal, indigenous to the planet and all that, and you think you all that in a bag of chips. As you can see, you still get sick, don't you? As you see, you still can get caught up in nonsense when you're in this mundane world. It's fair game, ain't it? So you must know the truth and live by it. Moors, you got your work to do on yourself. Do what is right. Stop judging people. And know that there's more to the story than what they're telling you. So you got to seek that knowledge. Now on my Facebook page, I've got a lot of videos that I've shared. I would invite you to go to my page. And if you find that boring, go to YouTube and look up Taj Tariq Bey and listen to his videos. That's what got me on this journey. I suggest you do the same. Because if you are truly chosen, if you are the one, if you've been nominated by the cosmic mind, ain't nobody gonna twist your arm. You will seek the truth on your own. You're not gonna wait on nobody to give you nothing. Ain't nothing gonna faze you. You're gonna get caught up in all this ignorance. You're gonna get caught up in all this opinion and feelings and emotions and belief. You don't waste your energy on that. Because you know. Even without reading the book. Within you, you're just gonna know. That's nonsense. And there's no time for that. Peace and love to you. Until next time.